bells rang through the cold December night as softly as a whisper. The final ring hung in the air as she held her breath, sent a chill down her spine. At no cold night could she'd seen no church before, but there it was sitting before her, door open as someone expected her. It had been a rough night to that point, losing her license and hitting an animal that ran away before she could catch a glimpse of it. The impact caused her car to swerve into a tree, and luckily she was relatively unharmed, save a few cuts and bruises. But her car was totaled, and she couldn't use the heating system for warmth, so she decided to test her luck and try to walk back to town. She passed she had passed half hour before the crash. It would take hours to get back, and after passing the town she had seen no sign of any sort of church or anything other than trees for the matter. But she was going to pester herself with pointless dilemmas. She needed to get out of the cold, and small church with electricity was sure enough to warm her up. It was through the trees, with no sign of any sort of path that led to the road. Maybe that was why she didn't see it. It was practically invisible from the road, and the lights were likely to have been turned on only recently. She cut through the trees and through the brush and through brushes and stickers, tripping on a few roots along the way. But her relief of the shelter was quickly vanquished. The smell of a dead animal filled her nose. It couldn't have been the one that she hit with her car not only was that miles back, this was the smell of something dead for much longer than an animal could be. Regardless, she pressed on, but the smell only worsened each step she took. Now was slower and more hesitant and lost. Once she stepped through the door of the church, she realized that this place was not what she thought it would be. Other than the smell of rotting flesh, the church was colder on the inside, and there wasn't even any electricity. The room was lit by only candles. The windows were boarded from the outside, blocking the moonlight from entering upon the closer inspection. So was the door. Well, once upon a time anyway, all that was there were a few nails and splintered wood along the door frame. This was only the foyer. Straight ahead was the entrance to what could be rightly assumed as the congregation room. It was cracked open to reveal even more candles on the inside. It was glowing enough to hurt her eyes, and that had adjusted to the darkness not long ago. As she stepped, the floorboards creaked and whined, making her believe that she was going to fall straight through any second. She placed her hand on the door gently, and rapid whispers repeated from the other side. Immediately she had the overwhelming sense of dread. She knew that walking into the place was a mistake. She did not belong here. Still, though, something pushed her on, and whether it was her own curiosity or nothing or something more sinister, she could not say. But even as she opened it, she regretted it instantly. Surprisingly, there was no one in the room, but the whispering continued. Not so surprising was the dead was the dead and decomposing deer laying on the antler. There were flies eating at its dead flesh, but even from the doorway she could see bite marks and claw marks tattooed on its body. Its guts were removed and savagely and blood-stained. The wooden floor below it. That was only what she noticed, however. Directly behind the dead deer was a human body, long, dead, and missing. Its left leg, and well preserved, it was standing upright in a coffin that leaned against the back window of the church. Engravings fluttered on the walls and even the ceiling, each marking a similar size. Once she got close to the road, read the markings, they only said one word, a name. Carol. Her name. Repeated thousands upon thousands of times. Her thoughts were racing faster and faster until she heard her name spoken once and sharply. She turned into the human body leaning in the dead coffin. It was long dead, but there was no doubt that is where the voice came from. Common sense would tell her to run as fast as she could until her feet bled. And she no longer heard the soft church bells ring softly in the night, but that was far removed from her now. Whether or not it was curiosity or still sinister, she approached slowly, and the whispering and became clearer. It sounded like a conversation between a man and a woman. Once she had come face to face with the body, she heard the woman's voice hush, the man followed by a couple seconds of silence. Then as loudly as she heard the first voice, and without the body's mouth moving an inch, the man said, "Finally, she's here." The candles went out, first followed by the air getting even colder and silence became deafening. It was a pitch black, only the moonlight from the outside illuminated through the doorway. Carol began to make her way out of the hellish church, making sure not to trip over any benches or dear corpse. She couldn't move fast enough, though no matter how quickly she was able to run, it wasn't fast enough. Once she reached the inner doorway, a small, squat figure appeared in the outside one. It was very low to the ground and very inhuman, but at the same time obviously human. It was a woman in a squatting position. That was all she could make of her appearance. Before that she dove to the left into the corner of the church. There was an extra bench pushed into the wall opposite of the altar that hid behind, as she hoped that the woman had neither seen nor heard her. But it was a hopeful feeling, nor was it. Light from the room first erupted as the candles were no doubt lit again. Wet skin slapped the wood beneath as a woman walked or crawled. Once it came through the second doorway, she saw a feature that she had not seen before, a third leg, but it was too dark to discern anything else. Until she lit the next set of candles, Carol almost gasped and gave her hiding spot away. There was no way in her mind that this thing was human at all. It was completely naked, its skin pale gray and loose at the hips and thighs. Its face was stretched as it seemed to have slight and pronounced snout, and its eyes were blacker than the blackest of night, and piercing it had long black hair that dragged behind it like a dress when it crawled. But the third leg wasn't even its leg. It was black from rot. The same color as the body in the coffin, broken with the bone protruding from the side. The leg had tire marks, no doubt was from Carol, even though the leg wasn't a part of the creature. It favored its side like it could feel the broken bone. Carol wondered if the thing could see her, a wonder that was short-lived as it turned to look at her with feral eyes. "Nice of you to accept our invitation," it croaked and showed a row of jagged, razor-sharp teeth. "Please stay for dinner."